Hey, I'm live. Okay. Hello, CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett I got a new camera, so I'm like super close to the screen, even though I'm a lot further away. What's going on? Happy Wednesday, where we are going to chew the fat CNC stuff again. And so I have, unfortunately, our sister Kate is no longer going to be on the Wednesday night lives for a while. And so it's she got some family things going on and some health things going on. So be sure to send her some loving and yeah. So it's going to be me and you know the guests that we bring on board and who knows, we might volunteer Mark into this thing once in a while, or maybe even in the middle of the show. Who knows? Okay, well let's start off with welcome to the Wednesday night CNC hangout, where we are going to chew CNC fat, and I will answer whatever questions I can answer. We got our sisters in the background. We have Julianne. Comments. Oops, I blanked out for a minute. Liberty's in the comments. So say hi to Liberty. She is not on board and behind the scenes in the live right now. And couple of things I want to share with you, a little announcement that we are going to share. And first I want to say hello to some brothers and sisters out there. So from what I understand, well, let's just bring Julianne out. Well, not yet. Sorry, Julianne. Oh, by the way, I stepped back into the shop after I took a 4.5 mile walk with my girlfriend, Sarah, come back in the shop, and I go back to where we process all the router bits, and guess who's sitting back there is Julianne. I go, what are you doing here? She usually does this stuff from home, but we'll bring her out here in just a second. First of all, just remember, please keep things light and you know, keep the negative comments out. We don't do that here. IDC Woodcraft has a zero tolerance policy. And who all we got on board here? So Alistar, hello, Alistar. And that's a new name. I don't remember this one. There's Ellen. Hello, Ellen. She's Madra. And Mark Eldon. Mark sent something to me a couple weeks ago. Very cute little LED lit thing. That was super cool. And Oz is here. Right, just Oz is always here. Oz, how's that new girlfriend coming along? Yeah, I got to scroll down. Looks like you guys been chatting back and forth a little bit. So we got Benny. Hi, Benny from Mississippi. And remember the song? There used to be a song about Mississippi, wasn't there? I don't know. Got another. Who else we got? So it's kind of weird because I'm doing this solo now, so I have to get used to that. And I'm always used to having a sidekick to bail me out, but I always got the girls in the background to help out. Martin. Hi, Martin, and Doggone Productions from OKC. Hello, Dion. Good to see you. Alan Smith and Brooks. Brooks is back. Jim Pitts. Gary. Hi, Gary Graham. We got Robert Clayton. Please compare the Phantom CNC to the Alt Mill CNC. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll get to that one. There's our brother Mark Lindsay, who likes to hang out with us. Thank you, Mark. And WXXRYY. And I'd love to know what that means. Where did that name come from, and what does that signify? Or is that just you just hit the keyboard? I'll just call myself that. We have Julianne. Julianne is in there. Hi, Julianne. Chris Gallagher and Gary Lynn. Okay. And hello to the rest of our CNC brothers and sisters. It is so weird for me looking at this camera is the same distance from me, but I feel like I'm buried in the camera. So we're going to bring Julianne out. She is doing this stuff. And there's Julianne hanging out in the warehouse, what we affectionately call the dungeon. Give them a tour. Give them a turnaround. This is where the girls ship the bid. Everybody's doing their work.
We'll start at Liberty's station first.
Okay.
All right. So, live tour. if you all have not seen it yet.
So this is what goes on in the background of IDC Woodcraft. You see, our Christmas lights didn't come down.
Yes.
This is Tell them what they're looking at.
And sadly, we've had to hide these from Garrett. We've got a giant bag of Liberty's runts here. Yeah. Those have been disappearing.
Now so you just showed me where they're at.
Oh, well, I'll hide them before, you get back here.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you show, look, turn a little bit. Show Kevin's project.
Wait a minute. Oh,
the IDC. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Our giant IDC, the spelling mistake spell check one, which I love. And then we have our nice big shelf of bits. This is really odd to do with the laptop.
Yeah, it is.
The processing area, our giant stack of post office bins that I was about to fall over. Lovely. And spinning around one more time, overstock bits, which we really need you guys to purchase. Please.
Get rid of that overstock.
Exactly. And then we have our labeling area.
So turn it back to that table.
This lovely table of processing right here.
Yep. So that's where they're processing all our inventory that has come in.
Oh, yes. And since we have you all on the live and I'm actually mobile, we get to actually show our fridge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sticker fridge.
Some of you all have sent stickers, which we greatly appreciate. And here we go. We've got one side over here that has lovely, oh, that was my nose. I'm so sorry. We move around the front here. You may see some familiar stickers. You may not. All the way down. Hold on. Here we go. And on the other side goes all the way down with stickers.
I think we need a bigger refrigerator. So the girls the girls are sticker junkies. So you gotta send your stickers to us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Doug said without an inventory, we need a fire sale.
Ooh, good idea. But yeah, and then we have our camera area over here. That's where Adam works. It was his birthday, what am I saying? End of April. So we kind of attacked his area there with green streamers. So, and then you guys don't get to see my work table. I'm sorry. You can see everything else, not mine.
Well, Julianne's work table is very organized and straight. And she keeps me organized and straight as well. So yeah, that's the back end over there. And then so one of the announcements I want to share is that the let's see if I can do it the other way. I'm going to try this thing to show a different camera here. So I'm going to just do that. It is plugged in here. So, oops, got a share screen. Wait a minute. So extra camera. There we go. Let's turn that on. Okay, I'm going to share. All right. Let's see if we can get my microphone out of the way. There we go. So that machine is for sale. That's the 4x4 Phantom that is for sale. So I'm selling it for $7,500. That's a steal. That's not a negotiable price because I am selling it for I got it for $11,000. Let's maximize that picture.
Got it. Hold on.
I paid $11,000 for it, brand new. So, it's got some of my junk on there, but that's it. That machine is for sale. I've already talked to one person already, and back in. Yeah, that was my fault. So anyway, so it's kind of a first come, first serve. You can DM me through Facebook, and we'll talk about it. I need to get it out of here by the end of the month because the alt mill is coming. And so people have asked me, why am I getting rid of the Phantom? It is because the Phantom is a production machine. All right, it's not at the more hobby level type of machine. It is full blown production machine, and I don't do production. I don't make lots of stuff to sell. I'm a teacher. And that's what I love to do, is to teach CNC and provide all the tools and resources for you to help you become a better creator. So, Richard said he received his hat. Thanks, Liberty. And they enjoy the M&Ms. And I think I saw Ellen. She said she got a package as well. So, and if you didn't know, if this is your first time here, we often have special guests on board. We don't have anybody scheduled. We have Hamilton coming, but when is Hamilton coming? It's 2 weeks, right?
That is, yeah. I have to look every time.
Yeah, we kind of we've lightened up a little bit on communicating with people, so we'll get back into that in a little bit.
June 5th.
June 5th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton has a closed group, and it's called CNC with me, and he's doing quite well, and he's working on some courses. And speaking of courses, I started to do a video, the VECTRIC 101 video. I got a video out there right now. It's been out for a little over a year. It's a VECTRIC 101. It's for the people who've never looked at the software before, and it does very well. So I figured, well, with version 12 coming out, I might as well do another video. And by the time I got done recording this video, it was 2 hours and 45 minutes long. And if you watch my videos, when I really dive into them, I mean, I'm putting arrows in there, I'm zooming into the things I'm talking about. But 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think that's a mini course. So I'll probably have to slate that as a mini course as opposed to a full-blown video, but I may just post a video up on YouTube for a little bit just to see what happens. It really just walks through everything in the software that you need to know, and kind of dive deep into it, obviously taking that long. All right, so one other thing. Oh, yeah. IDC Woodcraft hats are out. I've announced that last week. And we've made the girls made an executive decision that every Wednesday during the show, we are going to give 10% off on the hats. So if you're on the show and you want a hat, then we have a discount code for it that we will give. That is the code officially active right now?
It should be. Yeah. Here, hold on. Let's just do that.
Oh, there you go.
I got it to work.
You got it to work.
Now let me throw the link in.
Yeah, so just put the link in. Now this is only good until what? Midnight Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, 11:59.
Yep, and we just made a decision too. We were talking just before this, and we said, let's just do the hat. Well, they're doing the hat discount every week. So while we're doing this live show, and we're going to let you guys root on the discount code name. Explain that. Did I explain that well enough?
I think so. So basically we can choose any little code we want. So this last week and this week it was hat 10. So I don't know. We could do I don't know. I'm trying to think of something random that's not inappropriate to say for a discount code, but
yeah. And also the calipers, they were being released Friday at 5:30. So yeah, the calipers here. So we were releasing those, and also with the calipers, the CNC Insiders, right? So those on the IDC Woodcraft Insiders email list, you know that when we release products, you get a discount on that release for a very limited time. And this time we are doing the golden ticket. All right. So there's 10 golden tickets, and they're going to be randomly placed in the caliper cases. And if you get one, then you're going to get a ball cap. You're going to get a $200 shopping spree at the IDC store with a 15% discount. But the other thing,
the 5 pound of M&Ms.
Oh, 5 pound bag of M&Ms.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll ship that 5 pound bag of M&Ms to you. What's the word? Covertly, so the grandkids don't feel it. So tomorrow I'm going to release an email that's going to let you know that in 24 hours we will be releasing the calipers, and you'll have that discount code. You'll have your chance to get the golden ticket. And the other thing I have done, because I felt like 10 golden tickets and other people wanting to have that, it may not work out so well. I want people to win. So if you don't have that, you will have a different slip of, if you don't get the golden ticket, you will have another slip of paper in your thing that's going to give you a special discount at IDC. So everybody wins somehow when they do this. So what's going on in the talk? Oh, look at that. M&M's 10 is a possible code. So
we've got about 4 codes going.
Yep, Julianne's going to be writing down all these things, and we'll pick one out. And the winner of the code, what do they get?
A hat? I don't know.
Yeah,
extra M&Ms? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. So the code that we choose for that, so we're gonna tally them up, and the code that we get that gets picked out, then that person's going to win whatever these guys decide. So we'll make this kind of fun. The discount names.
So I'm
but
not
just
sure.
Remember, what's that?
Is that your camera lagging? Because I'm moving as you're lagging. I'm not sure
really?
what's going on.
I don't know. I can't tell. I'm just going to switch my cameras back to the other one. So hang on.
Okay.
All right. Wrong one. If it wants to work. There we go. Okay. Let's get this one in. Yeah, I don't know how well this new camera is going to work. And I think I just broke my camera mount.
Oh, gosh.
I literally just broke it.
Do we need the tape?
Yeah, I literally just broke it right off the thing. Okay, guess I'm stuck with the other camera.
Everything is just going great tonight.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, you know what? It's life.
Yep.
It's life. All right, so we got to get to some questions. So I'm going to let's see if we can end that other camera. Stop the camera. There we go. All right. So Julianne, I'll park you in the back. She's going to be watching the comments, making sure your questions are starred, and put in the front of your question mark. And if it gets too overloaded, too overbearing, we're just going to send Mark the access code to get into the live stream, and he'll come and help me out. So you're going to have to deal with my face right in the camera. All right, so let's get into this. We got Alistar. So the question is, Gerbil speed control for Makita only? So I'm not sure quite what that question means. GRBL Gerbil is the firmware that runs on the Arduino circuit board that is on most of your benchtop CNC machines. And so it does not have a speed control for your Makita. The Makita, I don't know the technical limits of the GRBL platform, but it can't control the speed for the Makita, right? That's just a manual knob. So I'm assuming that that's the question you were asking, if you can actually run the Makita spindle speed off of that, and you can't. It's by the type of motor that it is, you can't. So and Julianne, by the way, first time to drink. Whenever I ask Julianne to do something, gotta take a drink. Just remember to remind me about the hat so I can remind people. And okay, let's get on to the next one. Mark, brother Mark. Okay, so all the content creators out there seem to spend as much time editing or more than actually doing projects. It has been a real barrier to entry for you. So if this is one of those things, it's a good point, because yes, editing takes a tremendous amount of time. If you look at it this way, and Mark has been an editor. Mark Lindsay has been an editor for many years, and he can attest to this. You can figure every minute of video that is shot if you really spend the time on it, will take about 15 minutes of editing time. So I did a 2-hour and 45-minute video. Can you imagine how much editing time that is? And I've only gone through it the first time. Now I'm going through it the second time. So when people are doing that, when they focus on content creation, yes, they do a lot more content than what they do actually making stuff, because you really have to pick your battles. If you want to be a general content creator, but not put in your heart and soul into it and just say, hey, I'm just going to create content while I'm doing this, then then you can do more of the production work. But really, at the end of the day, you have to pick your game. And so if you want to be a content creator, then the sales aspect is going to be secondary. It's kind of like in business, there's this discussion. So my mentor teaches us all the time. If you split your energies in two different ways, you can only get about a quarter of the amount of energy in either item, because all that energy is because you're constantly flipping back and forth. So Mark, you either decide that you're going to make product, or you're going to work on making content. I'm going to try to put my camera back together as we talk, if I can. So I hope that answers your question. Now, there are a lot of creators out there. I'm not going to try to put this together. This is too far apart. There are a lot of creators out there who have been in business, and now they have moved out of the business space, or moving out of the business space and moving more into the educational space. So you've got people like Ryan at Cutting Edge, who's built a multi-million-dollar CNC business, and now he's focusing his game more into content creation. He, I know, has very big plans for his business. He's extremely successful, been doing it for a long time though. But I will tell you what the game that he played and the way he did it right. If you want to get into business and start working off of Etsy, which is not a bad platform to work off of. Yes, they charge you, but you're paying for a service that has a platform already built. So look at it on the bright side. You have a very easy way of entry into the space of selling your projects. But focus on one or two projects and learn how to sling mud at the wall with it. And what I mean by that with Etsy is you create multiple listings of the same exact item. 30, 40, 50 listings of the same exact item. You're just giving it different time. SEO platform. And what that means is search engine optimization. Basically, what people are typing in is what Etsy is going to return to them. So you can niche into, if you're making cutting boards with a military theme, you can say military cutting boards gifts for him. All right. And then you do another one, Father's Day gifts type of thing. And then good Christmas gifts for military dads. Things like that. That same product, you just keep listing it multiple times like that. And that was the game that he played that actually took his business off on Etsy. So a little side note on that. So we'll pop that one out and we'll go to Robert. All right. Please compare the Phantom to the Alt Mill. Do both have at least a modest ability to do aluminum? So I will say yes. Now, I don't have an alt mill at this point, so I can't say with my hands on, but I've talked to Long Mill a lot, and I've watched all their videos that they created on the alt mill. And so here's the first level difference is the robustness of the machine. So the Phantom is a heavy machine. It weighs 1,300 pounds, and this one here, and it runs off of a pendant. So you're not watching the screen as it runs like you do with something like G-Sender, where you have the screen there where it's actually showing the movement of the machine. All your controls just on a pendant, and you take a USB card and a flash drive and you plug it into the controller, and you upload the file and let her rip. Now, the Phantom, let's see. So the first one is the bulk, the girth of it, right? It's just a heavy machine. It is a rack and pinion machine. And so there's multiple drive systems for CNC routers. You got belt drive. I've actually seen chain drive, right? That's for generally some people have made their machines at home. They decide to do a chain drive machine, which is not really a good way of doing it because you don't have the accuracy. There is screw drive. You have the lead screw and the ball screw, and then you have rack and pinion. So rack and pinion is very robust. It can handle a lot of abuse, and it's hard to damage a rack and pinion. So it's a rack and pinion. The alt mill is a ball screw. They are both accurate. I tend to feel like a ball screw is more accurate. Now, ball screws, if you damage it, you pretty much have to replace it. You have to maintain the bearing holder is nothing but a bunch of ball bearings that ride around a track inside, and they actually recirculate in this because it's just the way it's made up. And you have to every once in a while make sure that those ball bearings are clean. Otherwise, the sawdust over time will get in there. It'll turn into like a paste inside the bearing housing, and but you maintain it, you wipe things down often enough, you don't have an issue. So the Phantom has this one has, well, all the Phantoms have vacuum tables on them. And this one is a 4-zone vac table. And this little camera does not have it's a very tight f-stop on it, right? So it's got a 4-zone vac table. And it's got a meaty ass vacuum to it. Now the vacuum pump itself is noisy and it runs hot. It just generates a lot of heat. So it'll heat up an enclosed area pretty quickly, and it smells like oil. So this one here, mine, is the base Phantom 4x4, and it has NEMA 34 stepper motors on it. So the long mill has NEMA 23. The alt mill also has NEMA 23. But the difference here is the alt mill, it has a closed loop system mounted on the motors. So the Phantom, for all intents and purposes, has more powerful motors on it. The speed, I've been able to run the Phantom up to 1,000 inches per minute. I don't know what the alt mill can do yet, but I think that they set up to 500 or 600 inches per minute, which is super aggressive, and they almost never cut that fast. What else can I say? The Phantom is an $11,000 machine. The alt mill is a $3,000 machine. If you want a spindle on it, that's going to cost you $3,500. So what I was talking to them. Well, I had them on last week. Julianne, throw a link of the alt mill into the chat. Time for a drink. So what is the alt mill? The alt mill is just for those who don't know, the alt mill is a new CNC routers being put out by CNC Labs. CNC Labs is the company that makes the long mill CNC router, this guy right here. And so they saw the market was trending toward a 4x4 machine. And so they got on board. And so the alt mill is a direct competitor to the Onefinity and the Shapeoko 5 Pro, which are both 4-foot by 4-foot cutting platforms. And the difference is they've been able to design it. Excuse me. Their intention has always been to design it economically, but have a really robust system. And what I like about what they do is they look for how they can make it run better. So the alt mill has a very high speed. I haven't seen it run yet. There was a question of how can do they both have the ability to do aluminum? I know the Phantom can do aluminum, And based on the video I saw with alt mill that they sent to me, yes, that can do aluminum too, but I will get my hands dirty in about a month. I expect it to be here. So that Phantom needs to be out of here within a month. So that's why I'm pricing it at $7,500. I am not negotiable on that price, by the way, because that's pretty cheap, because that's had very little use to it. And I'm not paying shipping. You know, you come and get it. We'll pack it up and I'll buy you lunch. We got a nice little steakhouse down the street. I'll take you down to that. What else? What else about the alt mills? The alt mills based on the super longboard that Phantom has just put out. And I don't really have the breadth of the super longboard, but I know that they designed the super longboard with the intention of coming up with a much less expensive version of something that has Masso capability. So that's the intention with that. So all the stuff they have on the longboard right now, on the super longboard, they're only using about a quarter of its capability. So they've designed it to let it to do more stuff. And Andy was talking last week, Andy from CNC Labs. One of the things they were designing with the super longboard is the ability to run in 4 axes instead of just 3. So you can have a guitar neck. So with a guitar neck, you can't use a rotary. And so we always have to do it with a 3-axis XYZ machine. And so what they are working on with this super longboard is to enable the rotary to handle the guitar, but also have that Y-axis move across. So you'll have actually 4-axis control to create something like a guitar neck. So that would be pretty cool. And I'm going to pop over to the regular comments here just to see what's going on. So I have two threads here. One is just looking at the questions, and the other one is seeing what people are talking about. Jason is on board, and Crafty Jans LLC, and Chris Gallagher, Jack in the Shop. What are you guys talking about over here? We got Michael. Okay, so all right, just remember, Julianne, pop that discount code up again. The IDC ball caps are released, and so on Wednesdays we will always put out a 10% discount code, and so you can get the ball caps. She'll put a link in the description, and there's your discount code right there, streaming across the screen. All right, so let's get to Brad. Brad, what's the best software that you can use to manage cuts on your Avid CNC? This is a question from Mark. The ones you've tested are pretty poor. Just got it. Thanks. So Mark has an Avid, and he's probably already commented on that. Timestamp 8:03. I'm going to go find your comment. So I got to scroll back. Bear with me. I love that you guys talk so much. I mean, I really got to scroll back in this thread to see this. Does my camera keep blanking out, Julianne? It does? Okay. Now, bear with me this time. I'm going to have to deal with it. Oz, you said your girlfriend's doing great. Excellent. All right. So, Mark, maybe you can answer that question here since you are an Avid owner. And Mark uses Mach 3. Mark, if you want, we can bring you on board. Just give Julianne a thumbs up and she'll send you the code just to answer this question. Then we'll just kick you back out. Okay. So, because it's good. I mean, this is good because not everybody runs off of the GRBL platforms. All right. There's lots of other machines out there. So, okay. We got Robert, you said he ate your M&Ms today with your first order. Yum. Yes. Maybe I should start eating some M&Ms. I'm always checking the feed rates on the M&Ms to see what optimal feed rate it is. And sometimes it's just the whole bag. Other times it's just one at a time. I was rewatching the show that we did last week with Andy Lee. And while he's talking, I'm just keep popping M&Ms in my mouth the whole time. It was pretty funny. So whenever you order something from IDC Woodcraft, you get at least one pack of M&M. Well, you usually get 2 packs of M&Ms, at least on your first order. Liberty writes you a note. Here at IDC Woodcraft, I'm very focused on customer attention. I am always aware that this is not just a sale. There's someone on the other side of this transaction who is waiting for a product so that they can start making amazing CNC projects, and they want all the resources they can have to make this an easier journey. So like router bits. Someone told me the other day, they said it has been so overwhelming getting into this, just trying to determine what router bits I need, because there's so many varieties of router bits that are out there. And so that's one of the reasons why I put together the complete router bit set, so that you buy one set and you're ready to go for a good chunk of your projects. And then for those who are a little more budget minded, we got a smaller set that has just the 5 basic bits you have to have if you're going to carve something. You will always get this chart as if it's your first time. And what this is, no one seems to teach this, but this is something we've learned, did in machining, in my CNC machining days. And this is a chart that tells you how to chuck up your CNC router bits and how not to chuck up your CNC router bits. There's a rule out there called the rule of thirds, and I've never seen this talked about in the CNC router world. And it's the rule of thirds is where you, this thing's coming backwards for me, how far up you should chuck your router bits and how far you should not chuck them, and what you should do if you need to get a little extra length out of them. This says not to butt your router bit all the way up. And there's some other information on this side. So this is a sticker that will come to you. And so, yeah, we got that so far. Okay. All right. I got another one here. We got Ryan. So you installed your pawn. You got a 65 millimeter spindle. And find the 1/4 inch bits are a real tight fit. Even with your clamp nuts, is all the way loosened. So, okay. So I'm assuming that you have backed out I'm going to pull my ER collet off my spindle here. So I'm assuming that you have loosened this all the way up first, so the bits slip free. Try to take it completely off and slip your bits in there, and try several different router bits to see if maybe one of the router bits that you have, the shank size might be just a tad on the high side. Now, router bit shanks are very precise. So your collets should be 1/4 inch. They should be 1/4 inch plus 0.001 minus 0. It's a super tight fit. And your router bits should be 0.25 plus nothing minus 0.0005. That's the shank diameter. So just check that out. And PWN is a really good company. You tell them you're having trouble with that, ask them to send you another ER collet, and they should take care of that for you. So we had Daniel on here about a month and a half ago. Julianne, you might want to contact him again, get him back on board. He had a lot of good technical information when it came to spindles on your CNC router. And but what you will find with the spindle, if you have a Makita router or another trim router on your CNC, and you go to a spindle, it's night and day as far as the cut quality. The bearings are much better on them, on the spindles. The spindles are designed to designed to spin at that high speed rate for a very long time, whereas the trim routers are not. And if you're in the system long enough, doing CNC, hanging out on Facebook, you will eventually start to see your trim routers, people's trim routers burning out, and eventually yours will too. It always gives that puff of smoke, and it stinks to high heaven, and the router is dead from there on. So I do recommend that you consider getting a spindle, especially if you use your router quite a bit. And you might want to check out the PWN spindle. It's basically a plug and play spindle. Julianne, you'll throw a link in there, a link to their website so that they can see what that spindle is all about. And yeah, it's $800 for a spindle, but it's I got the water cooled. It's a lot quieter when it's running, but when it does cut, it does make the noise that a router makes. You just can't get away from that. All right, Oz. How many M&Ms to a pound? I don't know. We'll probably have, so they're doing a 5-pound. Julianne just raised her hand. She says, I don't know. Come on out here, Julianne. Well, I know there's one less. She just put it in her mouth. I don't know how many. So 5-pound bag. We ought to do a tally. We ought to do a vote, right?
No, I'll have to do some investigating.
Yeah, yeah. Just do it.
I don't know if it's me or you. I think it's because we're on the same connection that it keeps wonking out there. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yep. So Julianne did not. She walked here today, and she found. We'll tell them the story
Of what?
why you're still here at the. Julianne is not 50 feet away from me right now. Normally
like
she's at home.
You probably hear it. But no, I just walked to work this morning and then got home, and lovely Spectrum Internet came across and said, oh yeah, so you have no connection. It's been gone since 2:15 this afternoon. So I'm like, well, crap. Usually I'm on about 6:30 chatting with you all. And now I'm hauling my butt back here to the office to be able to do this live stream. So Garrett comes in and turns the lights off on me.
I did. I walked back to the lights are on. I turned them off. Didn't realize she was there. Yeah, so I'll be driving her home after the show. All right. So next question is from Robert. Will the alt mill do aluminum and or steel? So that's where we're kind of pushing it. I will play with steel, but I can tell you this in my machining days. Right? Steel, removing aluminum with a cutting tool versus removing steel with a cutting tool are two different animals. It takes a tremendous amount of work, a lot more work to remove steel than it does aluminum or brass, right? So I'm going to say we're pushing it, but I'll give it a try. It's not like I don't have a couple router bits to spare. So we'll give it a whirl. Did I blank out again?
Yeah, you did. That's why I'm like moving. I'm like, is it him or me?
No. Yeah. So anyway, we're on the same internet connection. So we're probably hogging the system pretty tight. So yeah. I'll give steel a whirl, see if it works. But I will say most likely no. We are pushing it. It takes a lot more work to remove steel from steel than it does aluminum from aluminum. A lot more work. And I can tell you when you're machining steel, right, you want your chips that come off. The router is going to I'll give you this perspective. So I'm going to put you back in the background, Julianne. I'll give you this perspective. We can cut aluminum if you set your feeds and speeds right with a CNC router, not with many CNC routers. It's got to be strong enough, right? Now I don't know what those feeds and speeds are yet because I haven't played with it. I'll wait till I get the alt mill. I haven't done it with the Phantom, but the CNC router is going to run 8,000 to 25,000 RPMs. Whereas when we remove steel, we're running our machines at 1,800 RPM, and our chips that are coming off are super hot, right? all that work is getting dumped into the chip. And so you have a nice shiny steel, and these chips that are coming off are black from being burnt from all the heat that's generated just to shave off that chip. So I'm going to say no, but I'll play with it. I'll give it a whirl once I get the alt mill up and running. It'll take a couple months before I get that level, though. Good question. Darren. Okay. Difference in feeds and speeds between router versus spindle. Well, you can actually run a spindle higher than a router technically because the bearings are much tighter. A spindle, the surface finish is much cleaner than a trim router. So the reason you can run slightly higher feeds and speeds with the spindle is because you're running with a machine that's designed to do this kind of stuff. So that's the straight up answer, the best answer I can give you right now. But yeah, you can do better when you do have a spindle. But I'm going to say if you were doing this as hobby, then I wouldn't necessarily worry about it, right? Because that's $800 just to get your trim routers do tend to work good for it. They just don't have as much power. They're not they don't have the longevity expectancy by a long shot over a spindle. So I'm just going to go back over, see what you guys do. How many W's and W's? I guess you meant M&M's. No, you meant W's and W's. That W's is too far away from the keyboard to say M. So there's Cosmin is here. Or woodworking spindle spin slow enough to steel to meet meet the SFM. Yeah. Okay. Let's pop that question out, and we're going to come to Sanny AB, Sanny Ab. So this is a new name I haven't seen. Welcome. What bits should be used to carve on PVC board? So PVC, you want to use an O flute bit or a single flute bit. So Julianne, go to the website and find the O flutes and just general, and then send a link so you can see what it is. It's a single flute bit, and it looks a little different from. I don't have one sitting around. I do apologize for my camera keep cutting out, and we keep cutting out. We're using too much of our signal here, so just bear with me. So this is your standard down cutter bit. Now the O flute looks quite different. It actually has a much deeper groove in it, and it has an even faster spiral. Now, what I mean by that is the spiral actually goes up much faster. So that spiral, the flute. By the way, the flute is not the cutting blade. It's the actual groove in front of the cutting blade. So no flute has a faster spiral. So that spiral over half a turn will have gone all the way up the flute. The intention is to get those chips out of there as fast as possible, because otherwise it can melt to the bit, and then you have to stop and get all that. Show you something I want to show you something that I've been asked to make. Oh, you're bringing Mark on board. Good. All right. Hang on. I'll be with you in a second. I want to show this. So I'm in a framing shop, and the guy, someone asked him to frame this beautiful stained glass piece. And he made a frame. He made this frame here, and now I've got to figure out how to cut it out in an oval, which I've never done before. So that'll be an interesting experience to do. All right. We're going to bring our brother Mark on board. How's it going there, Mark?
Aloha. Goes well.
Good. How's the barbecue tonight? You guys been talking about? Were you?
My wife absolutely loves this time of year because I do the cooking and mainly outside. So, I'll walk in the house, say something like, I was thinking about some pulled pork. And her head pivots so fast, I swear she's going to whiplash herself one day. What do you want with it? Okay. So no argument there.
Wow.
So,
Well, you know what? You got to love a good woman.
oh, yeah.
You got to love a good woman.
Yep.
Sarah, multiple times, she'll call me. I'm going to cook something on the grill. What do you want?
Yeah, really.
Well,
So
we had that question earlier about the Avid.
The Avid CNC, I have to say, I was a little confused. I didn't know if he meant the design software or the control software. Personally, I use Mach 4, the Avid profile of Mach 4. So if you purchase the license through Avid, that's what you'll get. You'll get the Avid profile. It makes setup just a snap, a few mouse clicks, run the screen configuration utility on it, and it sets everything up behind the scenes. And you just go down the list, which version of the, you have the Pro, you have the Standard, you have the Benchtop, you have the full meal deal, I guess you'd call it, and what size, and do you have a rotary and all this other good stuff. And it's just click, make selections out of the dropout menu, and it's set. It's ready to go. It took me longer to tell you that than it does to actually do it. So, but if you meant the control software, I was a Mach 3 guy, and I didn't really see anything in Mach 4 that I didn't have already in Mach 3. But because I was getting a whole new machine, I decided, and that's what they recommended. I just said, okay, I'll bite the bullet. I'll go ahead and get Mach 4. And boy, am I ever glad I did. They stripped a lot of the fluff out of Mach 3 that nobody ever uses and put it kind of in the background. The screens are much simpler. Everything is intuitive. It's right there in certain tabs. And man, it really made things real easy. So.
Okay, I'm glad you answered that. I was cutting out so much on this end, but
yeah.
Our internet must be really slow. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, hear you just fine. Just every once in a while you will freeze, and then all of a sudden you're back.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I'm checking the feed rate of M&Ms again, so just let you all know.
Well, I'll stick with coffee.
All right. Hey, I recognize that cup.
Yeah.
By the way, Mark, you have a baseball hat coming. We were talking about.
Oh. Thank you.
maybe we'll have the first. Yeah, we were talking about maybe we'll have the first commenter on the videos. We'll get a baseball hat.
Okay.
And so and so you happen to be the first one. So okay, we'll send one out to Mark. But I don't know if we're doing that.
This is more than enough, Garrett. You've been more than nice to me, so this is more than enough. Thank you for the hat. I will wear it. Yep. Trust me on this. But if I happen to be, and I don't try to be first. I don't know what's going on. I just check my subscription feed several times a day, and I see that Garrett's going live. All right, fine. So I'll click over, open it up in another window, and just say good afternoon or whatever. I don't know if I'm first, second, third, fifth, what. So
it's no big deal. But I do like the idea of whoever comes up with the discount code for the hat for that show, the one that we like, they'll get a free hat.
Okay,
so that's probably what we'll do.
That works.
Yeah. I figure what the heck? We'll give a discount during the live shows.
There you go.
All right, let's tackle some questions. What am I getting the super longboard? I don't know. I got so much stuff to shoot video on right now. I got the Vortex, the rotary axis that still has to get unboxed. I've got a vacuum system from Airweights. that still has to get unboxed. I've got the Phantom to get out of here. I got the alt mill to do. I've got this quarter is video month, is video quarter.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't noticed, I've been cranking videos out a lot. And that's my intention. This quarter is I'm going to pump out as many videos as possibly can. I've got a Q3 plan, and so just crank out the content, get it out there.
Yeah, I'm stepping it up myself. I had a bunch of stuff going on in the background, and I did not have. I released my first video a couple weeks ago. It was the first edited video I had posted since August, because there was so much going on in the background. But that is calmed down, that is slowed down. So I actually have another video coming out this Sunday on my rotary axis that I'm just adding. And then I'm going to try something new the Sunday after that. I'm going to have a guest. And then after that, I'm doing a new spoil board. I'm going to make a new spoil board after adding the rotary. So we're going to see how all this works. But so I'm stepping up the video posting game. So.
All right, cool. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, super longboard. So the answer to the question on the super longboard is I don't know necessarily yet when I'm going to get it. Like I said, got a lot of irons in the fire. Mm-hmm. But it's not that much. It's probably not that hard to put in and try out. So we might have to expedite that. But that super longboard is, well, yeah, I guess for those who have the MK series, you want to know. So
now you would have an answer to a question I have for you.
What's that?
Are Gerbil-based controllers like G-Sender or something like that, can you set up work offsets for like a G56, G57, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I've never used a Gerbil controller, so I don't know.
Yeah, you can set up work offsets.
Okay.
So as a matter of fact, we've got a machine. So I've got 3 long mills. Mm-hmm. Now we've got a machine set up with work offsets.
Video idea.
We're using G56, 57, 58, and 59 on that machine.
Video idea. Just saying. I get a lot of people asking me, and I don't know. I've never used a Gerbil controller.
Oh. Okay. Yes, you can use the. Okay. All right. Video idea. Mm-hmm. All right. So Mark. What's the difference between Gerbil and Gerbil Hal? I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I think the difference is supposed to be, I've heard something about it, but it's supposed to be just a firmware that can do a lot more stuff. That's the best answer I can give you right now. I'll have to ask the long mill guys. Justin, noticed some issues with a finished cut on the piece the other night. Part of the project had a nice clean edge, and other sections ended up with jagged edge. Not sure if it was a bit issue. Well, I would say, and I'll let Mark answer most of this, but I would say if you're getting a good cut in one direction and not the other, it's either the nature of the wood and where you're at in the grain, or it has to do with the rigidity of your machine going on one axis relative to the other axis.
Yeah, assuming the piece didn't move, and all things being equal, it could be anything from the direction of the cut, because for instance, on a profile cut, a lot of people will talk about climb versus conventional. Well, when you're cutting that outside profile, you're cutting both, because you will go in one direction, let's say at the bottom of the piece, come up the side, and you'll go the other direction on the top of the piece. So one of those is going to be a climb cut, and one of those is going to be a conventional cut. So you're going to be going with the grain and then against the grain. That can do it. How sharp is the bit? That can do it. Are you being too aggressive with the cut, trying to cut too deep and per pass? That could do it. It could be just some funky material. I mean, I have found, and I found it in, well, I won't say all species, but in quite a few species of wood, you'll have some real solid, dense material in one location, and then you'll have some real light density in another location. I've had maple change densities twice in the same 6 inches that it's carving. And you'll hear the spindle kind of droop a little bit and then pick up as it applies more torque. Or you'll hear it all of a sudden start racing because it's getting into a little bit lighter density. Ronnie S. brings up a good point. If the wood is still wet or pretty green, that can do it too. So the wood species, if you're cutting, for instance, pine or any type of softwood for that matter, believe it or not, softwoods are harder to cut than hardwoods. You know,
yes, they are.
You can cut something out of maple 11 times and it'll be great. Try to cut it out of pine once and you'll get frustrated. You want to set it on fire. So it just depends on what you're trying to cut. So
yeah, pine is, it's funny. I mean, because pine is so soft, you'll be cutting. My back.
You froze up a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Pine is so soft, you'll cut through it like butter, and then you come across a knot, and then things act totally different.
Yeah.
The knots in pine the density is so much different.
And the annular rings are harder than the material in between the rings. So if you're trying to carve on quarter sawn or rift sawn pine, good luck, my friend. I mean, because it's going to bounce all over the place. And, you know, I don't like to cut on softwoods. I will. But when I do, I try to find either, well, if I'm cutting pine, I go for flat sawn. Cedar, it depends. Rift sawn cedar cuts pretty well. But, you know, I'm just a fan of hardwoods. You know, maple and cherry are my go-tos. So
yeah, more consistent the grain, the better. Hey, Julianne, do me a favor and turn your camera off, because that might open up some bandwidth, so I don't bump out so much. All right, so Dan.
Oops.
So Dan said HAL stands for hardware abstraction layer. It makes it easier for developers to write modules for different hardware. It also supports 32-bit processors for faster operations.
Okay.
So for the tech junkies out there, I guess that makes sense. Like you said, it makes it easier for people to write code for the GRBL platform.
Now, I don't write code, so.
Yeah, no, do I. I write G code, but Bruce, you any time frame, they want a down cut ML bit for CNC routers, 1/8 shank. Yeah, so we'll be getting those in soon enough. Oh, Julian already answered that question. Okay. 2 weeks out. All right, so that's the one we just did.
Yeah, and he confirmed in the chat he was indeed trying to cut pine, and I'm like, well, there's your problem.
Okay. Yeah, pine is it's a super fuzzy wood, and you know, it's so hard to get a clean cut on pine. You get a clean cut, but you're gonna get fur in there. Pine is a wood you're gonna be sanding all day long.
Yes. Truth.
All right, Dion. You've done a couple hundred keyhole slots on signs. You ran into a problem when you moved the tool path below the x-axis origin. This caused the tool path to switch directions.
That makes no sense.
So thinking. When you move the tool path below the x-axis. So I'm not sure what below the x-axis origin means. That doesn't make sense. Your software should not reverse the tool path.
It shouldn't.
Control shouldn't do it, nor should the design software.
No. Okay, Dion says it produced an upside down keyhole.
Yeah.
That still doesn't make.
So that would tell me. That would tell me that the start point. Well, obviously this. So Dion, check the start point of your line just to make sure. All right. He said he's done a ton of them, so I have no doubt you know what you're doing. But the first thing that comes to my mind is the start point's on the wrong side. But why would it do it when it?
Yeah, that doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
I'm not sure.
But then again, it's a mechanical object controlled by software. Anything is possible.
AI has taken over your CNC.
Oh, well, good luck. My computer cannot go online. So
yeah, there you go. Good. You'll be free from the matrix then.
Well, that computer will.
Yeah, right. The computer will. Brian said, yeah, that happened.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, to contact VECTRIC support and the toolpath setting, there's a check to keep that point the same.
Okay, within the toolpath. Okay, it says there's a check to keep all start points the same. Okay, let me get over here. I'm playing around behind the scenes. Sorry.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, keep all stars the same. Talk about that feature, Mark, because even I'm not totally sure on that. Where is that, and what does that do?
I just found it. And we're talking on a profile toolpath. So
let's bring it up.
All right. You will need to have show advanced toolpath options checked. And this is in a profile toolpath. Come down here to ramp, leads, order, click on start at, and check keep current start points. Now, I have never used any of this, so I'm guessing mine has this checked, but this version didn't. Of course, I don't generate G-code with this version, but what the heck. So I'm going to have to remember that. I have never had that happen, but that's down here where you have ramps, leads, order, sharp external corners, start at, keep current start points. So then calculate. Okay. So having said that, I probably would go back to the file that you created that keyhole G-code in and make sure that's checked, recalculate the toolpath, and save new G-code. So.
All right. Okay, so where is it going to work? Okay, I guess that would. I've done it where I've drawn multiple lines to like what I wanted to surface. I draw multiple lines like that, so it's always going to that direction. But the software will override it and make it come back, even though all the start points are on one side.
Yeah,
and so
right. Okay, Dion just said Mine is set to optimize start point. Thank you. And that is also maybe what's going on with you, Garrett. Now, having said that, I know a couple of people are real fans of that with like in surfacing material, for example. They want it all to cut in the same direction. And that's fine. That's all well and good. We all get off the elevator on our floor. And if it works for you, I'm never going to tell you that you're wrong. But I have never had an issue by just doing the standard rectangle in a box and let it mow the lawn. You know, it's half the machining time of picking up and rapiding over and coming down and doing it again, picking up, wrap it over and come back and do it again.
Right.
It's, I've seen a couple people say, well, if I do it the other way, I get burning. If you're getting burning while you're surfacing a piece of material, then there's another issue. It's not the tool path. It's the bit. You're being too aggressive with it. Your RPMs are too high or your feed rate is too low. You know, I've got a big amount of surfacing bit, and the maximum depth of cut on that bit by the manufacturer is 1/8 of an inch. So if you're trying to take off more than 1/8 of an inch to surface a piece of material, that may be the issue. That may be why you're getting burning. I have never had an issue.
Yeah, that's why the feeds and speeds I set for the surfacing bits at IDC Woodcraft, for the 1.5 inch, you don't ever go past 0.07 depth, and that's still deep.
Yeah, yeah. I made a mistake when I was doing the epoxy inlay for the Pirate. I made a massive mistake and thought I had reset my Z0, and I hadn't reset my Z0. The bit picked up, it moved over and headed in. It plunged down. I always set up my surfacing tool paths to where all my X moves are done off of the material, and I surface along the Y. And it dropped down, and then all of a sudden that bit hit that material, and it was a god-awfully loud noise, and I looked over at it, and it was cutting 3/8 of an inch per pass. It did it. It did that entire piece of material 3/8 of an inch in a single pass, but I never did that again. So it's nice to know that it will do it, but it's like, holy cow.
Right. So that was a setup issue. You forgot to set that.
Yep. That's why I have checklists.
Yep. Checklists. That's what I was about to whip up.
Yep.
So I came up with this checklist when someone emailed me and they had a problem. They said their router bit bent, the surfacing bit, and I do, and they set the Z for the part. It was $7,000 epoxy pour table that they did, large table. Then they set the Z, and the machine didn't take the Z. It didn't register in the machine, and when they hit go, that surfacing bit dove right down into, when it was going down in the corner, just started digging out the corner of that table. Fortunately, he had enough stock left to make that table. It didn't totally ruin it.
Yeah,
but that's what's on the setup sheet. And when you set your X, Y, and Z, there's a check in there to make sure your computer knows that you have checked to make sure it's gotten in there. So I put this together, and I even threw it to Mark a couple times, and he said, no, you need to add this, you need to add that, before I made it available to everybody. So it's a CNC project setup checklist, and this checklist, it's a material check to make sure you've checked the material size, you compared it with your design material size that you did in the software, the thickness as well, all your router bit information, that you got the right G code loaded for the right router.
Yep.
Everybody has forgotten to set X, Y, and Z, and that's And then you got some final checks here, like as stupid as turn on the CNC router, right? Because we do it. And the last one that I'd never see anybody do is have your hand on the stop button when you hit the start button.
I make myself little banners to put on my monitor because I will forget something. Turn dust collector on. Yeah. It's great to have a high-speed, low-drag dust collector, but it's absolutely worthless if you don't turn it on.
Right. Yeah. Oh, by the way, questions that are coming in. So we're at the cutoff point for
Yes.
questions. We'll handle a couple more. I've got 12 questions in the queue right now, and if we get through them before the top of the hour, then we'll bring in a couple more questions. So anyway, I just want to let you know this this checklist. You can get it. There's a link down below in the description. Julianne will put a link in the comment section as well. I suggest you get it and use it every time. It will save you.
It will save you.
Yeah.
It will save you.
Yep. So, okay. And also last time, I'm going to say it this time. So the IDC Woodcraft hat. So what we're going to do is during the live, and only during the live, we will do a discount on the IDC Woodcraft hats. So if you're on a live, you get, and you haven't gotten one, then here's the time to get it. So Julianne will put a discount code in the banner that goes across, and she'll also link it in the comments if she's there. I'm not seeing if she's still in there. Okay. So, and the rule is now that you can put in the comments, give us the discount code that we will use for next week. The discount code for today is HAT10, capital letters HAT10. So give us your vote. We're going to pick out a code, and if we pick your code, then you're getting a hat next week. We're gonna announce it, and we're gonna ship it out to you.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's fun to give stuff away.
Sure, it is.
How much house horsepower is the vacuum pump? So I guess they're talking about this one. I actually don't know. I'll have to get down there and look at it. So if I can show you the pump, it's a pretty major pump down there. It's underneath my shirt.
Oh yeah, that's healthy.
Yeah, this is a 240 volt unit. By the way, so the Phantom, that machine is for sale, $7,500. And it's a 220 single phase machine. The pump is 220 single phase. I'm not selling the dust collector with it. You'll get all the hardware I got with the machine though. And so I can tell you it's a pretty strong. When Phantom sells those machines, for the 4x8, they sell a bigger pump. So I think Julianne, I just knocked a question out. So Brian is coming in from Facebook. So Brian, you might want to jump over to the IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel. This is where all the commentaries is taking place. So he has a project that calls for an 1/8 inch and a 1/16 inch end mill to complete. The project is cut through and through. Compression bit is needed. If you've read correctly. Anyway, my 3/16 compression mill on the way. Okay. In my opinion, would using the compression bit on an 1/8 inch cut have adverse effects?
Yes.
I am aware. So go ahead, Mark. You kind of jump.
Yeah. If you have calculated that tool path for a 1/8 inch bit, and you use a 3/16 inch bit, you know the 3/16, as you said, 3/16 is larger than a 1/8. It's not going to compensate for that extra 16. It's going to cut into your. I'm assuming it's a profile. It's going to cut into your part by a 32nd of an inch. Recalculate it for the 3/16 inch bit.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're trying to get tight corners, so here's the benefit. Here's why I came out with the 3/16, because the 1/8 it's kind of a fragile bit, right? And so I wanted something a little bit more beefy, but also still held a smaller radius. So the 3/16 will hold up better than yeah. But yes, you're right. A compression bit is what you want to use when you're doing a cut through.
Now, it depends, because I mean there are a lot of CNCs out there that won't handle a compression bit. They can't cut that deep per pass.
No.
I went for years without a compression bit and cut everything with either an upcut or a downcut spiral end mill. Just know that, for instance, if the top surface is the important show surface, downcut. If the bottom surface is the important show surface, upcut. If they're both show surfaces, it's a roll of the dice, unless you want to create two tool paths. One cutting halfway down using a downcut, then the other cutting the rest of the way with an upcut. That's an option as well.
Right.
But a compression bit isn't necessarily required. I went many, many years without a compression bit.
No, he's right. He's absolutely right. If both edges are of concern, that's definitely want a compression bit. Now, I will say something on that account, though. I have cut on the Phantom. With the 3/16. When I first came out with it, I test all the bits first, and I was able to do full depth on my plywood with the 3/16 at 240 inches per minute.
Yeah,
it broke it at 300 inches per minute.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, lost me again for a minute.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Chris, what's the collet size on the Makita? Not in docks with the router. Oh, collet. Oh, I'll bet she's thinking about like ER collet. So the collet size with the Makita, it holds a 1/4 inch shank. I've heard some people talk like it's an ER style collet, but it's its own collet. You can't buy. Yeah, you can't buy one of these guys and think it's going to work. That won't work. That's an ER style collet.
Right.
And I keep getting questions, by the way, about muscle chucks for the ER20s. So we're still working with the muscle chuck manufacturer to come up with those. We've talked about the concepts, but he still has to make them and trial them. So I really want them, though, with a 1/4 inch. Go ahead.
Do you happen to know what the part number of the Makita router everybody is using on like a long mill or a Onefinity? Do you happen to know the model number?
Model number?
Yeah, of that router, because there is a company called Elair Corporation.
Yeah.
And they make collets for Makita routers.
Okay.
And from 1/8 up to 1/4 inch. And they also make metric collets from 3 millimeter up to 8 millimeter.
Okay. Okay.
So
yeah, we've got Makita collets here too.
Oh, I didn't know that you did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I carry. No, that's okay. No, but that's good to know. There are other companies that sell collets for the Makita. So at IDC Woodcraft, we have a 1/4 inch and we have the 1/8 inch. The model number is RT0107C. That's the trim router number.
Oh, okay. I got RTO 701C. Yes, they do. They make a collet for that. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, I apologize. I keep blanking out here, and it's probably because Julianne and I are both using the same Wi-Fi.
It might be.
Training it down. And plus, who knows what the computers are doing, sending stuff off to its backup and what have you.
Yeah. And also depends on what you've got running in the background as well.
Yeah. All right. From Mike, Garrett, do I plan to use the air-cooled spindle that is sold with the alt mill or the PWN water-cooled? So my first thing I'm going to do, so I'm getting the alt mill. The alt mill is a new CNC router that's coming out from CNC Labs. For those who might have popped on late, it's quite fast, and it's designed to compete with the Onefinity and the Shapeoko Pro 5. Both are 4x4 cutting areas, and so it's going to come with the spindle. but you'll have the option of with a spindle because they're giving you the option if you want to buy your own spindle somewhere else. And so, am I going to throw the PWN spindle water cooled on it, or go with the air cooled with the one that I'm getting? I'm going to start off with the air cooled that they have because I want to give you an apples to apples comparison when I review it and use it, so that you can see.
Yep. Anecdotally, I can say that my air-cooled spindle on the Avid, 0 problems. It's a beast. It's a 4-horse spindle, and I mean that thing. It went through leopard wood 3/8 of an inch per pass and didn't even feel it. So it's a beast.
Yeah,
I've never had any problems. We don't have sub-zero temperatures here. I mean, if we do, it's a rare thing. But we do have temperatures over 110 in the summer. That's common. We've hit 115 quite a few times. And I have yet to have a problem. Of course, I have an air conditioner right behind me, but I have yet to have a problem with that. I like the air cooled. I don't have any the water pump issues, or make sure that the flow is going, or antifreeze or any of that. The air cooled works perfectly for me.
cool.
So,
Yeah. The water cool is really super quiet. Yeah, air cool is going to make some noise because it has air going through it. But when you get into the cut, that's almost moot. It almost doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask anybody here if you appreciate these Wednesday nights and people like Mark jumping on board and bringing on the special guests. If I'm on a mission to get my. Am I back?
yeah, you're back.
I'm on a mission to get the Google reviews of IDC Woodcraft up to 300 reviews. So Julianne's going to throw a link in the thing, and I would appreciate if you feel like the service you get from IDC, you enjoy the videos we put out, and the router bit, the customer service, then drop me a review, because Google likes reviews. The more reviews you have, especially if 5-star reviews, the more they rank you up high in the algorithms.
Yep.
All right. Do you have any plans in the future to make the 1/8 bit with a 1/4 inch shank? Yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be doing it. There's always hesitation to do that because you introduce a very clear breakpoint on that bit. Right, and so, but yeah, I'll be doing that. I can tell you, no CNC bit company likes to do that because they know they introduce. I forget what they call it, but there's a specific name for that for that specific point that we're introducing into the router bit. That's going to create a breakpoint.
Yep. Yep. If that bit's going to snap, that's where it's going to snap. It's kind of like cutting a sharp 90-degree inside corner in sheet metal. If that sheet metal is going to crack, that inside corner is where it's going to start.
Yeah.
Just simply because
also
you have given it a direction to go.
Yeah. But you also have something else that you introduce metal fatigue. Right. So we all know what metal fatigue is, but little do we realize that constant flexing that we're putting that router bit under, because router bits do deflect, and that deflection does move like that. That's that we're slowly fatiguing the router bit, and eventually it's going to create a fatigue crack, and then when that happens, then the router bit's going to start to give. What is that? Dougson to woodworking. He said a PNC air cooled. Said the 80 millimeter spindle works great on the MK2. That's what I've got right here for the PWNC. That's 80. I actually wanted the 65, and I actually ordered the 80 by accident.
Oops.
Yeah, but yeah, like Mark said, once you go spindle, you'll never go back.
Nope. You won't.
Yeah. Throw the link in the comments again, Julianne. What do we got? Andrew, imagine you need to shield the bottom of the router when routing aluminum, as it might damage the router motor. Well, the chips are going to fly outward regardless. In all my machining days, I'm just kind of reflecting back to my machining days. There's generally 3 types of chips that you get in metalworking. You'll get what they call 6s and 9s, and then you get the little sandy chips, and then you get the long stringy things. And so the little sandy chips can actually bounce up and onto things. That they're. Are we still on?
Yeah.
They're the least controllable chips. Those little sandy chips. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see until I get the machine and see how it goes.
My question is, can you slow the router down enough to cut aluminum without welding the bit?
So this is a big thing with aluminum, and it's such a great point. Aluminum has a tendency to gall really well, and what that means is it gets gummy, and then it sticks inside the flutes of your router bit. It rarely ruins the bit, but it is a bitch to get out.
Yeah.
So you have to really know your speeds and feeds when you're doing it, and you have to be doing. So we'll see. I don't know, Mark. I'm going to play with it.
I've also been told to use an O-flute bit made for aluminum. Mm-hmm. There's different geometry for O-flute bits for plastics than it is for aluminum. I was told to use that and try to come up with some kind of cooling system, even if it's air cleaner, air cooling.
Yeah, you can use air coolant. You can use a mister. But so even as a router bit company, I focus on wood bits. So I have to experiment. Well, if I'm going to be starting to do that, which I am, because a lot of people ask about that.
Sure.
And so now that I can get a machine, that I can be confident that I can play with it like that.
Yeah.
I got the Phantom. I could have done it with the Phantom, but I didn't want to.
Well, I can do it with the Avid as well, and I do have one project that's going to require me to machine some aluminum coming up, probably either late this year or early next year. But I do know from talking to several people who do routinely cut aluminum is be ready for a mess, because aluminum chips are going to go everywhere. And
they're very different kinds of chips.
And just about the time you think you've cleaned up, you're going to find more. And it's important to get that taken care of, because the next piece of material, you do not want to be slamming down a $200 piece of wood and have a bunch of aluminum chips embedded in the backside of it.
No, you don't.
It makes a god awful mess that you will have to clean and then come back and clean some more.
Mm-hmm. Well, sawdust you can blow away. Aluminum doesn't blow away so easily.
No, it don't go nowhere. It just laughs at you.
And the aluminum chips are very different. They are long and pointy. Then they're coming off with an end mill. All right. I just want to remind y'all, the Phantom is for sale, and selling that machine and the pump down there, back pump, $7,500. You can come, bring a trailer. It's yours for $7,500. 220 volt. Both of the units are 220 volt. You want 30 amp circuits for the. Is that 30 or 20? 30 is the buffer. Yeah. One circuit for the pump, you can do 20 amp. For the machine, you need to do 30 amp. There's one for you, Mark.
The one that works best. This is a case of sometimes there is no best, and the project is going to dictate what the best bit is. Because if it is, for example, a 2-foot diameter 3D barn star that's going to be mounted up in the eave of your house and seen from 14 feet below, a 1/4-inch ball nose will do it. If it's the lid of a jewelry box that you're going to be holding in your hand and it's a small carving, you may need something like a 0.25 millimeter tip on a tapered ball nose. The project is going to dictate what the best bit for that is. And if you are using the VECTRIC software, create 2 tool paths, one with a 1/4-inch, one with an 1/8 inch ball nose. If you don't like that, go to a 1/16 of an inch ball nose and just preview those tool paths and see which one comes out best, which one you like.
Yeah. Hey, Julianne, will you bring the flag lady carving down? So I want to show them. You can't, like Mark said, you can go 1/4-inch ball nose. It all depends on the size and detail that you're working with, and then how fine you want to get. So you can use any ball nose. All right. Just think ball nose. I can do a 3D carve with. This is how much detail. But to give you an idea, right? So we got 1/4-inch ball nose. Now we've got roughly a we'll say oh shoot, what is this? This is a 0.09 radius.
Okay.
That's a 0.045 radius, super fine detail. And your trade-off, thank you.
You're welcome.
And your trade-off is the time you're going to be running the machine. This project was done with a 1/4-inch ball nose. The whole thing. I know you can't really see quite all the detail in it, but the stars, everything was done with a 1/4-inch ball nose. The hair, 1/4-inch ball nose. And this project has lots of nice detail. I don't know why the camera does that weird thing when I turn it like that.
It's taking the reflection off of the lights.
Yeah, okay.
And that is a 0.25 millimeter tip. That's almost hypodermic needle.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, you know, you're not going to cut out even something like what you were just showing, Garrett. This would take you 3 days. With
5 days, 3 days.
Yeah, with that little teeny tiny bit. I mean, but this is for like if you are doing the like a lid of a jewelry box and you've got like a 2-inch diameter rose that you're carving into the lid of that, you would use something like this, something that's going to be held in the hand and viewed close up. So,
yep. All right. Where do you post ideas to VECTRIC? If you have suggestions for VECTRIC, you email support@vectric.com.
Yep.
They have very good response rate. Usually takes them a day to get back to you, but they have a good response rate.
Yeah, they are in the UK, so there is that time difference thing. And if you post it, if you email them at 3 o'clock your time on a Friday, you're probably not going to get an answer until Monday.
Right.
I can almost guarantee you're not going to get an answer until Monday. Hope that answered that question.
Yeah. And if you email them, you can always ask them to put draw curves back into the software.
Not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. Huh?
They're not going to do it. They've stripped out all of that architecture.
Oh, really?
They are very, very adamant that they're not going to do it. And so what I've been doing is I've been playing with just using the straight lines. And then when I've got the tracing done, I'll go back and convert to Bezier curves. Just select the whole vector that I did, do curve fit, change them all to Bezier curves, and then go and do my adjustments there.
Okay. That was a surprising move. But
same here.
Yeah. Yeah. What bit is the best for cutting plywood for minimal tear out or chipping? Plywood's a bit of a challenge because it's a looser, tends to be looser wood. You're working with a lot of thin strips. I'm a down cut, up cut guy when it comes to that. Compression bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, all plywood is not created equal. If it's
Mhm.
CDX for, a treehouse, good luck. If it's cabinet grade plywood, down cut or up cut is good. If your machine will do it, full depth in one pass, a compression bit with a nice lead, that'll get it. I mean, beautiful. So long as you can get that down cut portion down into the material, say 2 to 3 passes. A compression bit will do it. But again, I didn't use a compression bit for probably the first 7 or 8 years, and just use down cuts and up cuts.
Right.
And the material, a lot of machines will cut at 200, 300, 400 inches per minute. The material is going to tell you what it wants to be cut at. And if you're shredding material, you've got to stop and figure out why. Are you being too aggressive? If you're
Mhm.
burning material, your RPMs are too fast, or your feed rate is too slow, or a combination of the two. If you're shredding material, you're being too aggressive. Either your pass depth is too deep per pass, or you're trying to move it too fast. Your feed rate's too fast. So there's a balancing act, and there really isn't a magic number. So I saw a post on Facebook a couple days ago that somebody broke a beast, and they were trying to cut Ipe 1/4 inch pass depth with a 1 inch ramp. So he wasn't being hyper aggressive with the bit, only cutting 1/4 inch per pass. But Ipe on a good day is a hard wood to cut because it is
Mhm.
so hard. You know, Janka hardness scale, hard maple is like 1400, purple heart is like 2500, Ipe is 3400.
Wow.
It's got a real high silica content. It's a really hard, dense wood. And I'm kind of surprised he was able to get that 1/4 inch depth going, because Ipe will tear up your bits and blades, and it's a hard wood to cut. So,
Yeah, and it's tough to come up with the proper feeds and speeds for all materials for all machines. It's not it's not really feasible to do that. So
no.
we find a good ballpark to work with, and then but we on the IDC Woodcraft app, you can at least you have some selection of wood that you can go with to get an idea when the Jenka scale gets higher, then you can do it. So the IDC Woodcraft app is a router bit app. We're going to bring that up here. So you can go into it and then you can get your router bits. You've got all the IDC Woodcraft bits in here. You can find your router bit. You can get it, and there's a description of the router bit. There's your feeds and speeds, your specifications, and then here you can select between millimeters and inches. Here you can select the spindle. If you're not using a spindle, if you have like a Makita trim router, you can select that and it'll give you the dial setting for your router. And then the final thing is what material you're working with. So MDF or HDF, pine, poplar, oak, pecan, hickory, acrylic, PVC, Brazilian walnut. We can't put all the data in there because there's just way too many wood species. All
Yeah.
right, but at least it's a good resource to go to. You don't have to go search feeds and speeds on the.
Mhm.
And if you need to buy a bit, you can always get it right through the app, so you don't have to search a computer. So that's going to be in the description of this video, where you can go to your app store, whether you're Apple or Android, and just search IDC Woodcraft, and it's free. It's a free resource for you. So, all right. Question is Kate okay? I don't know. Kate only shared a very minor bit, and I said I'm here if she wants to talk, but it's not my place to share even if I did know. unless she wanted me to share. So
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I know that she's kind of busy with life right now and running around with a couple kids. She did share that there's a health thing with her son, so she's focused on that. So I can share that. But you can always message Kate at womenwhocnc@gmail.com. Womenwhocnc@gmail.com. Give her some support.
Yep.
Any experience from Galaxy Federation? Sounds like a Star Trekker. One of my favorite shows. Any experience cutting with poplar? If so, thoughts, Mark?
What are your thoughts first?
Poplar to me has always been kind of a wet wood. It always felt wet. I don't know. I mean, wet isn't the word. It just seemed to cut wet. But I've not done a lot of poplar. So
Poplar,
I can't necessarily.
I hate poplar. I really do. And I know a lot of people out there absolutely love it. The machine has not yet been invented that can measure how much I despise that material. It doesn't hold a fastener. It'll strip right out. It's one of the softest hardwoods out there. It really is that bad. I have found the only way to get a real satisfactory, if you're trying to 3D carve poplar, you've got to use ridiculously slow feed rates. I mean, ridiculously slow feed rates. We're talking like 20 to 30 inches per minute. And that's going to really slow down the work. You will get good results, but it's going to take forever. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the smell of it when it's cutting. I don't like how it feels. It's just too soft. It doesn't hold hardware. Shall I go on?
And what I've found is you can't get a pretty finish on it. If you try to stain, if you try to stain it, it doesn't come out. I don't know what it is.
Just about every upholstered piece of furniture you own has a poplar frame, especially the broken stuff. A good percentage of painted hardwood furniture is made from poplar because it is cheap. You can get it real inexpensive. And it grows like a weed. It's a very fast growing tree. I just don't like it. And for the money, I think I will jump over 2 units of poplar to get to a pallet of cherry, or maple or something like that. So one might get the impression I don't like it. I don't.
All right. We got a question from Jack. Lost connection in VCarve MK2. That's the long mill machine here. Making wheels. Axle hole. Yeah, restarted and drove a hole through the board and hit the E-stop.
Yeah, that's an issue. I really don't know anything about the long mill and the Mark II. I mean, what is the homing routine on it?
So first of all, it depends. Should you start over and try again? So first, if you got the homing switches with it, it's an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
okay.
so it's so if you got the homing switches with it, and you set off of that, then if you set up your work offset, I mean, you set G54. G54 is a general offset, but if you have homing switches, you can home the machine. You can pick it right back up again as long as you didn't change your zeros.
And
it's good.
And this is a perfect example of why using those work offsets is such a benefit, because in a situation like this where you restart, yes, you have to rehome the machine. Yes, you have to go into your, for the sake of argument, G55 work offset. But then all you have to do is reset your Z0 and you can just pick up where you left off and go.
Yeah. But I'm going to assume he does not have the homing switches as an option. And
in that case, I would just start again. Yeah. I would just start over. I mean, if the holes are already not aligned, it'd be just cut your losses, chalk that one up to experience, and start over again.
Yeah. What
So,
holes are we doing? The drive axle holes. So maybe you can do what clean it out, clean out the hole, and make a dowel, a big dowel, and put it in there to fill in that, and then redo the hole. Otherwise, one of the things I'll do is I will do my best to find my zero position again. If you've got a corner that you have set that off of, and you can come back to that corner, do your best to reset that with the same technique that you did. If you use a probe plate, use the probe plate. So, but sometimes it's a trick. I had a big sandwich board sign move on me, and picking that up was that last point. I had to find the right spot in the G code file, and then on that part, and then I had to touch off on that, and then I had to go find another point in the G code file and move over there and make sure those 2 points lined up with their respective carve, and then I was able to get. But that took about an hour and a half to get that realigned.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's craziness. I had power go out on me. My old shop, I had one 15 amp circuit, and I forgot the heater was running. I started up the CNC, set my XYZ0, got everything going, ready and raring to go. The bit picked up, it moved over, and the minute that bit hit the material and got a little bit of a load, it popped that breaker and everything shut down. So luckily for me, it was so early in the G code, I just started it over. But I had to go back and find, reset XYZ0 just like I was just getting started. And then remember not to try to run the heater along with a computer and a CNC router and everything else at the same time. So.
Yep. All right, we're getting down to our last couple questions.
All right.
And just remind y'all, get the setup sheet. Get the setup sheet. Use it religiously. It will. We all make the mistakes. We just all the little things that you do are right there.
Yeah.
Right. So we just don't remember. Get the setup sheet. Julianne will link that in the description in the comments, and everything. There's a bunch of stuff in the description of the video, so make sure you check there. All right, drink. I asked Julianne to do something again. One of these times, I'm actually gonna have some. I like bourbon cream. Pour some root beer in it.
I don't drink, so I'm a real cheap date.
One of these nights, the end of the night will be a little challenging. Absolute best custom wood products. I so love this name. Question: is it possible to find someone that is not pleased with the Spire and buy it used? It's a question for you. You're a beta guy, right?
It's possible. I mean, it's possible to find someone that's not pleased with anything. Here's the problem. How do you know that it's a legitimate copy of the software that's going to be recognized by VECTRIC, that's going to have all of the clip art, that's going to give you tech support, that isn't a pirated copy for those of you who can speak, that's going to come with a bunch of surprises buried inside the program the first time you run it. That's the hard part. You can find, less so on Amazon now, but you can find a Spire on eBay for $50, and it's a pirated copy of version 9, so it's not even a current version. And anytime you try to send a file to somebody, they're not going to be able to open it, and it's going to give them an error code that's I think it's 126663 error code. And that is a flag. This was created on pirated software. So if you are going to, if you don't care if it's pirated software or not, save your $50 and just go to one of the Russian websites, because it's the same thing. It's where that's where they got it from. It's just if you go to the Russian website, you're not paying
So what?
$50 for the privilege. I would not do
Please,
it. I would not do it. I would go to the source. I would go to
Yeah.
VECTRIC or an authorized VECTRIC reseller.
All right. So how does somebody go about? So he's looking for it from somebody else, but let's just say you bought a Spire and you didn't like it. How can you transfer that license to him?
Well, what you do is what I would do as the seller. I would reach out to VECTRIC and tell them I want to sell the license. And that way they're aware of it. What the buyer would have to do is contact VECTRIC and say, I'm purchasing this license from this guy. They'll check it to make sure, number one, I have a license. And there's a $50 transfer fee. They will transfer the license over to the buyer. And then I'm no longer licensed for Aspire, and that person is. You'll set up your V and Company account and all that other good stuff. So,
Okay.
Personally, I would have to trust the person that I was buying it from, and I really, really, really don't. I'm maybe I'm just too cynical for my own good. I just go to the VECTRIC and buy it from them. Yeah, I know it's a lot of money. I really do. But remember, if you're running a business, it's deductible.
Exactly.
When it comes tax time, it's deductible. And I know you got to have that money in the bank to write that check. Been there, done that, But,
Yep. Okay, we got one more question on the docket here. And so remember the caps, the discount code. We only discount them during the live session. That's what we'll do. And you can create our discount code for next week. So we need discount code ideas. And Julianne's going to do her best to keep track of them. And next week, whoever's discount code what they give us, we will you'll get a hat. We'll ship one out to you. So get creative. All right. Last one. You could transfer the license, but it would never do. No. So you just kind of answered this question. No, kind of answered the same stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, when you find someone, reach out to VECTRIC. Someone else said that too.
Yeah.
So reach out to VECTRIC.
Yeah. And I agree, Norman.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been kind of a weird night without Kate.
Yeah, sorry. I'm got that going and she don't. So.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird. This is her third week without Kate, and she's not going to be here now. So I feel like I lost a left leg.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, just show her some love, y'all.
All right, there we're back again. Okay, and Julianne, you can pop your camera on real quick.
Yay!
And thank you, Mark, for jumping in at the middle of the show. Yep. And Julianne, I have learned that we don't have enough bandwidth to handle this, so we'll solve that one.
I'll get it figured out.
Yep, like she always does. Now I have to drive Julianne home because she's so dedicated, stuck at the office.
Yes, I'm trying to walk for my health.
Right. Remember the calipers. The calipers are being released Friday, 5:30. Be on the CNC Insiders email list. You'll get 15% off. Julianne will put the email list in the comment section.
And actually, to answer that last question, the IZ Obot, we do these every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
Let's see. I see people trying to get questions in at the very end. Hey, Mark, how much do you charge for one kitchen cabinet? I don't make kitchen cabinets, so $1 million. I don't do that no more.
And hold on, wait. A thank you
Yep.
to Steve.
Hey, Steve, super sticker. Thank you, brother. Gave us a little contribution for taking time out to do this. And so, yeah. So bring your questions next week and we'll be here. When I was taking my walk with Sarah, we were talking about it. I said, what if we're on a honeymoon? What do I do on that Wednesday? She said, well, you'll still do your live.
You just have to show us around wherever you're actually at.
Right.
Give us a tiny tour.
Well, we're not at honeymoon stage yet, so we haven't crossed that bridge where you got to start thinking about that. But anyway, all right. Well, y'all, thank you for spending some time with us, and hope you gained some CNC knowledge, and yeah, have an awesome evening. All right, there we go. Checking out.